Artificial intelligence is everywhere, and people are using it in a wide variety of ways. Naturally, the question is coming up on if we should be using this technology to build our websites. I wanted to put two different AI programs to the test, Cadence AI and Claude, to see if I could build a WordPress website with them. I also, as a bonus, tested out Telex AI, Automatic or WordPress.com's solution to making everyone a WordPress block builder. I'll let you know what worked and what really didn't. And also, we're going to talk about the ethics of using this technology, because not everybody is on board with using AI. And also, we know we can, but should we? Our demo client is Black's Parties and Promotions. They gave me their black and white logo and one short text message explaining their services. That's it. I'm serious. No brand guidelines, no copy, images, or pages. So this is a perfect test. What does AI do when you give it almost nothing? You're going to find out. All right, let's start with Cadence AI. And this is the one that I really like because it kind of felt like magic the first two times I used it. So Cadence has an AI setup wizard that walks you through all of the basics: your site language, your industry, your business name, and a little description of what the business does. Since our client only gave us a logo and one short text message, that's all we had to work with. When you paste in the client's text message, Cadence actually tries to expand it for you. So this is our first use of AI. And this part worked. It gave a fuller business description, but I still wanted to double check the content because AI can hallucinate or add things that aren't true or relevant. Next, Cadence asks you to pick keywords. You have to pick at least 5, so I chose the ones that made the most sense for Black's Parties and Promotions. Then it asks for the tone of the website copy. And because this is an event planning and party promotions business, I picked friendly. Next, it wants your site goals, and this actually affects which plugins get installed automatically. For the client, I selected display events, let people book appointments, and show services. Then, Cadence gives you a set of images that the AI thinks matches your business based on your prompts. Some of them fit, some of them didn't, especially the corporate looking ones. So I removed a few and kept the ones that were closer to the client's vibe. Now here's where Cadence gets interesting. It gives you a mix of free and premium starter templates. We used the free version for this demo, so I scrolled past the premium ones and picked the free Laurel template. I want to point out something really major about this process. Cadence AI isn't creating a complete website from scratch. It's taking already established and created Cadence themes, and it's auto-generating the content for your website. So you're not getting a website from scratch, rather you're getting AI content that's generated and automatically inserted into a website for you. Finally, Cadence generated the website for us. Several parts of the homepage didn't get any content generated, even though Cadence's whole thing is generating the copy for the website. Now, to be fair, Cadence still delivered a full multi-page website with structure, images, and layouts in under 5 minutes. That part was pretty impressive. Now let's get into Claude. And Claude is a different kind of tool. It's not a website builder, but it's a learning language model, or LLM, by Anthropic. It's kind of like a coding assistant in this case. And if you don't already understand how WordPress works, especially full site editing, things can get pretty overwhelming fast. I'm starting with a completely fresh install of WordPress using the 2025 theme, because this is one of the most FSC-friendly themes available right now. To give Claude the right context, I uploaded the client's logo and pasted the exact text message they sent describing their business. And then I wrote a detailed prompt telling Claude to generate a full landing page using WordPress core blocks. No custom blocks, no external libraries, and to make sure everything was editable in the WordPress block editor. Claude offered a second option: generate full block patterns, which I can insert directly into a template or page. And then Claude generated a massive pattern. It included a cover block, headings, paragraphs, call to action buttons, placeholders for images, and all of it wrapped in proper block markup with the idea that everything could be edited visually later. The blocks were functional, but the design was extremely basic. To test the pattern, I created a brand new template for the homepage, switched to the code editor, got rid of the default content, and pasted in the block pattern Claude generated. And the page did load, but it didn't look good. It looked like a very rough wireframe, and it required a lot of manual fixing, defeating the purpose of AI. Finally, this is where Claude really struggled. It timed out constantly. Claude has the memory of Dory from Finding Nemo. If you try to ask it to revise the whole page or redesign the styling, it ran out of memory, lost context, or hit message limits. So yes, Claude can generate blocks, but you need to understand full site editing to even use what it gives you. And if you want to learn how templates, patterns, global styles, headers, and footers actually work, I have a full course on LinkedIn Learning called WordPress Mastering Full Site Editing. Now, not all of the code that Claude gave us was wrong, so I want to go into another way to use Claude to build your site. This is to skip blocks entirely and just vibe code the whole thing in HTML and CSS. This time I told Claude, forget blocks, forget patterns, just write full accessible landing page in raw HTML and CSS. Include header structure, footer structure, everything we need. And honestly, the results were surprisingly clean. It matched the client's black and white branding, it had structured sections, clear headers, layout spacing, and readable copy. This is a pretty difficult way to do it. I would only recommend it if you're someone like me that uses WordPress a lot and can throw this on a site and spin it up very quickly. Here's a family tree website I did for my family using Claude to vibe code the content. This site was done in 15 minutes. All I had to do was go in and make some color changes, and then I threw it up on hosting. So if you know what you're doing, this is a pretty viable way to vibe code a website. So here's my take. Claude is powerful, but it assumes you already understand WordPress. It assumes you know FSC patterns, markup templates, and even where the code goes. All right, so let's move on to Telix AI. This one comes from Automatic, the company behind WordPress.com, and it's supposed to automatically generate WordPress blocks for you using AI. So in theory, you describe the block you want and Telix writes it. Let's show you what actually happened. The first day I tested Telix, I asked it to generate a gallery block for me. Nothing really complicated, but it did have some custom features I wanted. It started processing and just never stopped. I checked back throughout the day, it was still spinning, so this first attempt was a complete fail. The next day, I tried again with the same prompt, and this time, Telix actually generated a block. When I ran the block locally, it worked, meaning it loaded, displayed, and didn't crash anything. But there was no interface, no controls, and no instructions on how to change anything. And if you're not familiar with block.json, React components, WordPress blocks, you're just stuck with whatever the AI gave you. If you're using WordPress.com, you have to have a WordPress.com account to even create it. If you're self-hosted or using a different hosting provider, it's going to be a lot of steps you have to go through. And again, how would you know these steps if this is your first time doing this? Now, if you do want to understand how WordPress blocks work or how to modify the blocks Telix gives you, I actually, again, have an entire course that teaches just this. It's WordPress Introduction to Custom Block Building, and I'll have it plugged below. All right, so we need to talk about the part nobody wants to talk about, but everybody needs to. The ethics of using AI to build websites. Because this just isn't about whether the AI works, it's about what happens when we rely on it, especially if we don't understand the tools underneath. If you've never used full site editing, how would you know how to update a template? If you've never touched a block or plugin files, how would you know how to modify a Telix AI block? If you've never learned the difference between a theme or a template part, how would you maintain a Claude-generated layout in WordPress? There's also the environmental side. Claude timing out on the first long prompt, the Telix blocks running for a whole day. Some of these models can use a lot of energy, and as we build with AI, we have to think about sustainability, not just convenience. WordPress has a gatekeeping issue. Certain knowledge stays behind certain doors, and beginners are often left to figure it out on their own. AI can easily fall into that same trap, where a handful of people know how it works and everyone else gets left behind. So, my whole goal is to make AI understandable, accessible, and sustainable for everybody. I have a company, Greenway Tech Education, that does just that. I teach for Innovating with AI, which I plug below. I truly believe no matter who you are, you deserve to have the same access to technology and tools as everyone else. My friend Ken Elliott always says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that's exactly how I see AI in general, and especially in WordPress. If you want to learn AI with me, you can always reach out to me. I do consulting and teaching, and I have an in-person workshop coming up Saturday, December 13th in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll plug that also below. AI is powerful, y'all, but power without understanding is just risk. So I know a few people are going to be frustrated with me for using AI, but I don't use it because I love the hype. I use it because I want to help shape it into something better. To me, AI isn't about shortcuts. It's about responsibility. If we don't learn it, if we don't teach it, then the only people who can control it are the people who already have the power. That's why I'm here. That's why I teach, and that's why I build.